Chiefs Kingdom. Welcome into a brand new episode of the Chiefs Report by Chat Sports. I think some moves may be on the horizon for the Kansas City Chiefs, my friends. Some notable cuts happened yesterday by the Miami Dolphins. We talked a little bit about Tyreek Hill's cut when it happened yesterday, but they cut somebody else, and then there was another potential cut candidate in an article that the NFL put out. All of which are moves I think could have, well, two of them have already happened, and one of them I think could be coming over the next couple days. All three of these guys are guys I think the Kansas City Chiefs could and should make an effort to add to their roster in 2026. We're going to talk about all three of them today, but before we do, we've got something big coming for you guys. We've got our first merch on the Chiefs Report by Chat Sports. With it being St. Patrick's Day, with St. Patrick's Day right around the corner, we've got our St. Patrick's Day drinking team merch for Kansas City. I cannot wait to rock one of these. I got one coming. I am super excited about it. They look awesome. Our design team, shout out to Arnold, did a fantastic job with these. And if you guys want them, they are available at the link that is on the L3 below, chatsports.com/KC Green. You type that in, you will be able to get yourself one of these really good looking shirts. They come in green, they come in black. They got that awesome clover there for St. Patrick's Day. I can't wait to get my hands on one. I think you guys should absolutely do so as well. So one more time, that's chatsports.com/KC Green to pick up one of these bad boys for yourself. But let's get into our cut candidates from around the NFL that could be signing candidates for the Kansas City Chiefs. Starting with the guy who has dominated conversation in the Chiefs Kingdom over the last 24 hours. Absolutely understandably so, might I add. Tyreek Hill. Released yesterday by the Miami Dolphins in a cap-saving move, and a pretty smart one, might I add, that saved them $22 to $35 million. I think it's ultimately going to rest at that $22 million mark because it doesn't seem like they intend to designate him as a post-June 1st cut, looking to save one of those for a potentially different move. But obviously yesterday, we spent a little time on Tyreek already in the at-home video that I filmed. So I'm going to keep this section relatively brief. But something that did happen after I filmed that video, some information that we didn't have when I filmed that video, came out from Pro Football Doc. He tweeted this. And we spent a lot of time on the injury situation with Tyreek yesterday. That's the number one thing that you've got to consider if you're thinking about signing him. And this did not make it any easier to make that decision. Tyreek Hill was released by the Dolphins. He says, with another surgery still ahead, he's unlikely to return until late this season, referring to the 2026 season, and it's possible he won't be back until next year. This type of injury, given his style of play, falls into the career-threatening category. That's bad news to hear that from a doctor at this point. And Tyreek Hill confirmed that he does, in fact, have another surgery scheduled for his LCL. He still needs another repair. He was talking about that on a Twitch stream. So it's not speculation. We 100% know from the horse's mouth itself there is another surgery coming for Tyreek Hill. What we don't know is exactly how long that's going to delay his return timeline. But I don't know if it's something we can do, guys. When you look at this receiver depth chart, obviously we do have a need here. Obviously, with Tyquan Thornton exiting, Marquise Brown exiting, that's two of your best speed threats gone. I understand why people want to go out and get Tyreek Hill. I understand the gap he might fill in this offense, the gap that Xavier Worthy has kind of struggled to step into. I know a lot of you are like, Xavier Worthy's right there, receiver too, but what kind of production have we gotten from him on a consistent basis? Can you count on him at the end of the day? And I know a lot of people feel like Tyreek Hill's the guy you can count on. And production-wise, if he was 100% healthy, absolutely, yeah. That's usually Tyreek. 100% he'd be an awesome addition to this offense if we were getting even the version of Tyreek Hill that showed up at the start of last year. I would be thrilled about it. It would be a no-brainer. But that guy, I don't know if he exists. If he's not 100% healthy anymore, if he can't get back, then you can't sign him. But if you do want to sign him, because obviously you're going to have to make that decision before you really know that he's going to be 100% healthy, this is what the deal has to look like. I laid this out yesterday, but we're going to go through it again. 1 to 2 years maximum. Absolutely. Very little money guaranteed. I want to reemphasize that. I think the guarantees on this should be as low as they possibly can be and have him still agree. Get your cash back through per game bonuses and production based incentives. If you are still that guy talking to Tyreek Hill, go out there and show us. You want to get paid like a top receiver? Okay. Here's a $5 to $10 million incentive if you cross 1,000 yards. Here's another big incentive if you make a Pro Bowl. Here's another big incentive if you make an All-Pro team. Here's another big incentive if we make the playoffs. Here's another big incentive if we make the Super Bowl. You can stack this deal with incentive-based money. And if I'm Tyreek Hill, I've got all the incentive, no pun intended, well, full pun intended, to go out there and show you I'm still that guy. To go out there and prove everybody like me right now who's yapping about how Tyreek Hill can't come back and play wrong. Do it. Here's your opportunity. Here's the deal that gets you back on the field with the best quarterback you've ever played with at zero risk to the Kansas City Chiefs. Yes, I have my concerns about Tyreek Hill's health. Yes, I have my concerns about Tyreek Hill coming into this locker room in a lot of ways. But if this was the deal, I'd do it in a heartbeat. That's all for Tyreek Hill on today's show. If you want more on Tyreek Hill, if you want 15 almost minutes of me just talking about Tyreek Hill, then go check out yesterday's video. We just put it up yesterday when the news broke. I got right to filming. That's what we do around here. We are your one-stop shop for Chiefs news and rumors. So while you're on the way over to that video, why don't you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already? But if you want more on Tyreek Hill, go and check that one out after you get through this one. But overshadowed by the Tyreek Hill news yesterday, even on our show, was Bradley Chubb. Bradley Chubb, we didn't even say a word about him yesterday. I'm part of the problem, to be completely honest with you guys. He would be an interesting candidate, though. The more I thought about it, obviously my mind kind of locked in on Tyreek Hill, given the obvious Chiefs connection, but Bradley Chubb might actually be the smarter signing. I know, kind of crazy here, but look at the numbers from Bradley Chubb in 2025, which I'll mind you, one of his worst production seasons in a while. 47 tackles, 8 of which went for loss, 8.5 sacks, 20 QB hits, and 2 forced fumbles. And when you think about what are the primary needs of this Kansas City Chiefs team, I think you could go down the list. You could say, maybe we need to upgrade the depth of the offensive line. We need a new running back. Absolutely. Receiver room could use some work. But right up there, and maybe bigger than all of those, is the defensive line, specifically the pass rush. I've said it before. I'll say it again. We don't have game wreckers. We don't have guys who you can trust to go win one-on-one, to take over for you, to disrupt the flow and the timing of a quarterback. Look at the depth chart. I'll show it to you until it looks better, until it looks different, that there is not a guy in this room, even Chris Jones, I'm going to throw in this group, that you could say is a serious game wrecker. And I don't know that at this point in his career, you could call Bradley Chubb a 100% game wrecker, but he's a better pass rusher than anybody that we have. Absolutely he is. He is better at getting after the quarterback than anybody on this Chiefs roster. 19.5 sacks over the last 2 seasons. That's production we could use, but not at significant cost. I like the idea. I like the idea of going out and adding to this defensive line, but I do think there are other options. I don't think you 100% have to lock in on Bradley Chubb to upgrade the defensive line in free agency this year. I think he might be one of the better available options, but I don't want to pony up a ridiculous amount of money for this guy. To be honest with you, I mean, injuries have been a concern throughout his career. We know the production is declining. I talked to you at the beginning of this video, even though he had an 8.5 sack season, he's still coming off of one of his worst years production-wise. You're buying low on a guy who fills a need for you, but don't buy high on this. Recognize what you're doing here. Recognize where Bradley Chubb is at in his career and sign the right type of low-cost deal. If you do that, I'm all for this move. If you don't, if you overpay, if you give Bradley Chubb something like $20 million annual, I hate this move. There's a perfect range for Bradley Chubb, somewhere between $10 million annual and $15 million annual. And if you can find a strike price right there, it's a fantastic sign, in my opinion. That would massively upgrade your pass rush, but you cannot overspend on this. I want you guys to pick a fin. We've talked about 2 Dolphins, both of which got released yesterday. If you want Tyreek Hill, I want you to hit the like button on today's video. If you want Bradley Chubb, I want you to comment Chubb for me. So like today's video or comment Chubb for me if you want Bradley Chubb. And JD, drop that player L3. That was supposed to be Kenneth Walker. All right, next up, I want to talk about Kenneth Walker, actually. So Kenneth Walker is not per se a cut candidate. However, what Kenneth Walker is, and this report came out very recently from, I believe it was Adam Schefter, Kenneth Walker may not get the franchise tag from the Seattle Seahawks. That was my expectation, was that the Seattle Seahawks would either use their franchise or transition tag to retain Kenneth Walker. And this broke just yesterday, so I want to talk about it in today's video. But Kenneth Walker would be a really interesting target. I know I'm kind of cheating because he's not a cut candidate. He's not getting cut by the Seattle Seahawks, but they are seemingly trending towards letting him walk. They may find a way to get a multi-year extension done. They may find a way to do something like, and maybe the sourcing is wrong. Maybe they do end up tagging him, whether that be with the franchise or a transition tag. But it does not seem like they intend to do that as of right now. And this is the reigning Super Bowl MVP. This is a guy who showed in just that Super Bowl that he could be the kind of explosive presence this Kansas City Chiefs offense needs. He is somebody that you absolutely have to be keeping very close tabs on if you are Brett Veach right now. If he gets out of Seattle, you need to be banging his line. You need to be all over this guy. Because if you get Kenneth Walker, you've opened up the number 9 overall pick. Now you don't have to go in the Jeremiyah Love direction with that pick. Maybe you still do, but I think that would be double dipping to an unnecessary degree. However, if you do want Jeremiyah Love, how about one of the best 1-2s in the NFL with our third candidate, Alvin Kamara? No, we would not be going to get Alvin Kamara to be the starting running back. I want to get ahead of that one because I know somebody's running to the comments right now to type, Alvin Kamara is getting way too old to be our starting running back. If we're signing Alvin Kamara to reboot the running game, this is a terrible decision. Jackson, what are you talking about? That's not what I'm talking about. But again, I would kind of contest you on him being too old to be good. Last year at 30, he posted nearly 700 total yards in just 11 games. Just 11 games. Nearly 700 total yards. That's pacing for well over a 1,000 total yard season if he had played the full 17 games. And again, he was leaned on as the starter. There was an expectation that he would be the number 1 back. He was given number 1 back work, and that was the kind of wear on his body. I think if he was a change of pace back to Jeremiyah Love, the production and the efficiency could be even better from Alvin Kamara. But last season, it wasn't bad. 3.6 yards per carry. Again, he continues to be one of the best receiving presences at the running back spot in the NFL. Just such a consistent guy in that way. 33 receptions for 186 yards. Only 1 touchdown in the 11 games. He's always kind of had an issue with getting into the end zone, but that's what we've got Kareem Hunt for. I would still want to keep, this is my projected 2026 running back depth chart for the Kansas City Chiefs, if you go in this direction. And I think if you're looking at this room right now, looks pretty damn good, doesn't it? You've got the best back available in the 2026 draft as your RB1. Changing pace with him, keeping him fresh, is Alvin Kamara, a phenomenal back who offers you a lot of receiving versatility. And then as your RB3, out of the change of pace role, but still available for situational usage in goal line situations, in short yardage third downs, is Kareem Hunt, who was more effective in the tush push than in those types of situations. Like the only thing in the NFL that was more effective in short yardage than Philly's tush push. That's a great running back room. That's upgrading from like the NFL's, genuinely competing to be one of the NFL's worst running back rooms last season to maybe the NFL's best. I'm going to go out there and put that on a limb. I think that would be one of the best running back rooms in the entire NFL. That is an enormous upgrade that sets Jeremiyah Love up for success. Alvin Kamara could be elite as a change of pace back to him. No, he is no longer an elite number one back, but given lower production, given less expectation, and allowed to be fresher, I still think he could be very good in this offense. So let me know, which of these three guys would you want to see come to Kansas City? For Tyreek Hill, give me a TH. You want a reunion with one of the best receivers Patrick Mahomes has ever played with? You're saying injury concerns be damned, bring me the cheetah? Type TH in the comments for me. You want Bradley Chubb, the other Dolphin on the board. Pass rush upgrade for us. I think a substantial one. Does come with some concerns given the declining production, but we absolutely need a player like that of his caliber in that area. Or lastly, another major need getting addressed at running back with Alvin Kamara, coming in to be an elite change of pace guy for a potential Jeremiyah Love selection at the 9th overall pick. Let me know in the comments, who do you want? Give me a TH, a BC, or an AK, and we will see you guys in the next episode of the Chiefs Report by Chat Sports. As always, let's go Chiefs Kingdom.